26 days now into the midterms, some new Fox polling to tell you about, and Chris Direwald, the Fox News digital politics editor. How are you, Reverend Chris? Nice to see you. Good morning.
Good, Brother Bill.
On the board behind us, we've queued up a lot of things last night because at 6 p.m. we got a lot of new information. Here's the what-if scenario, though. 55-45 right now in the U.S. Senate. Blue is Democrat, red is Republican. Chris, go right to the center part of the country. In Kansas, this has been a battle. Here's what we found in our Fox polling. Pat Roberts has a 5-point lead on the independent Greg Orman. You put all the polls together, and it's less than that, about 2.4% there. Disapproval number in Kansas for the president is quite high. It's at 63%. What's moving in Kansas now?
Pat Roberts is moving in Kansas now. He woke up. He has responded. They had a debate last night where he was just beating the tar out of Greg Orman. The other thing that's happening is Orman, who was, if you were a Republican, sounded like a Republican. If you were a Democrat, sounded like a Democrat. As it goes forward, he is obviously aligning more with Democrats. He's an independent, but for Kansas voters, they see him now more clearly as a vote against a Republican majority in the Senate, and he doesn't have a really clear answer about that.
So let's see whether or not those numbers hold up over the next 4 weeks or a little less. Come east right here in Kentucky. It is red for Mitch McConnell. By the way, Kansas has not voted for a Democrat since 1932. If Greg Orman were to pull this off, it would be a national story, as you well know. In Kentucky, Mitch McConnell, minority leader right now, he's in a pretty significant challenge right now. But this is what we found in our Fox polling. He's up 4 points. You put all the polls together, a little less than that, Real Clear Politics average. It drops down to 3 points. Also in Kentucky, the disapproval number, rather, for the president is at 59%. Not as high as Kansas, but still significant. What do you see?
There are a lot of good things about working for the Fox News channel, but high on the list, my friend, other than getting to work with you, is the fact that we have the best polling in the business right now. And these state polls are good. This comports with that average, and it indicates that a Democratic strategy for keeping the Senate early on was you're going to keep Republicans on defense in Kentucky, you're going to keep them on defense in Georgia, and then they added Kansas into the mix. Hey, what about that? Well, as it turns out, that's not shaping up for Democrats. It's going to be expensive, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to try their best defense as a good offense strategy.
$100 million in Kentucky. $100 million in North Carolina. We've never been there before for a Senate race. South Dakota is Democrat. And for weeks, for months even, Republicans have said that's a surefire bet to go from blue to red the first Tuesday in November. What changed in the last 24 hours that's got everybody's heart pumping there?
Well, there's a poll that ain't as good as our poll that shows it as the race is competitive, that there is a turncoat Republican guy who left the party, Pressler, former senator, in striking distance. So the Democrats are trying to do some blocking deal. Mike Rounds, popular former governor, has been running a somnolent campaign. He might have to take a cue from Senator Roberts down in Kansas, which is there are no sure things. He's going to have to wake up. He's going to have to get in the fight. And get out there and engage to a greater degree. But Democrats right now are looking for any place, especially with cheap media, to make Republicans play a little defense. And you can buy an awful lot of television time in South Dakota for $1 million.
We'll see whether or not that's an outlier, as we like to say, or whether or not it's legit. Look at the approval-disapproval number here. We talked about Kentucky for the president right now. On the bottom line, 59%. Kansas at 63%. You move to Colorado, tight race, 57%. Arkansas, tight race, 61%. Alaska, similar at 61% as well. When you see historically numbers like this for a sitting president, what happens?
His party loses. His party, sitting president's party in the second midterm almost always loses, except for one time in modern political history. That's what happens. That's what's expected here. But when you see approval numbers this low, this very low, and you see it across the country, you know that there are going to be Democrats who might otherwise be able to save themselves, like Mark Pryor down in Arkansas, unable to swim against a tide that strong.
26 days. I don't think you're sleeping, Reverend. Thank you, sir. Chris Direwald there in Washington, D.C. Nice to have you, Chris.